Welcome to Caribbean Straight Talk with real conversations and great interviews. Hi, this is Lima Damba from Caribbean Straight Talk. So, when you see my face is because we've got another episode for you, right? And this one is really interesting and really interesting in the sense that April is the month for autism or autism autism awareness month. And this young lady, she's got two sons that are on the spectrum. And we're going to have a conversation with her. And it's a really interesting one because this is something that she's been living the past 15 years. And I'm sure those two children of hers are the joys of her life. But we will let you hear that and then some from her. And her name is AL-NISA. And she is the founder of the organization Autism Links. How are you, AL-NISA?
I'm great, and you? Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm doing okay, but you're welcome. It's nice to have you on our show because this is a topic that I think everyone knows someone who is either autistic or has a child or a family member that's autistic. So the fact that April is Autism Awareness Month and we have you on the show so we can have that conversation and encourage you to elaborate a whole lot more, not just on your experiences, but also all the information that you're going to share with us. But before we delve into this, let me just give our listeners a basic definition of autism or what is autism. Autism is a condition that affects the brain and makes communicating and interacting with other people more difficult. The cause or causes of autism is unknown, but genetics, differences in brain anatomy, and toxic substances in the environment are thought to contribute to children developing the condition. So that is a basic definition. What are your thoughts on that basic definition, AL-NISA?
Well, it's called the autistic spectrum disorder. So the symptoms that you identified are pretty much on point, but there are other things that helps to identify autistic children. So yeah, pretty much you're on point with that. And
Yeah.
the fact that the reason is unknown is
Mhm.
also factual.
Okay. So let's talk about your two sons. Okay, your two kings. All right. Tell us about your sons. Tell us about when you recognized that they were autistic and that journey during the earlier years into their current years, please.
Okay, well, my older son, who was 16, I noticed it when he was 3 going on 4. He was in daycare, and I had noticed other things about him previous, and I also noticed that his speech was declining. So I went to pick him up from daycare one day, and he was sitting amongst other children, which that's something he's never really done. And he was crying and biting himself. And I pretty much was like, okay, that's it. Because can you imagine picking up your child and he's crying, you don't know what's wrong. So I took him to see, I called the doctor, explained to the doctor that my son is not speaking. And it's been from that point on, I've been dealing with different behaviors. And then I read up about autism once the doctor referred me to go to speech. And that's how I found out my other son, who's autistic now. Keep in mind, he speaks. And that's why I said it's not always those simple things that identify as a child on the spectrum, no speech. Because he was speaking, but he was banging his head. He had a lot of sensory. So he's on another level of the autistic spectrum disorder.
Oh. So you have the one is on level one and one is on level two.
Well, how I can explain it is the one that was not speaking at 3 is higher functioning
Mhm.
than the one that was actually speaking.
Okay. So
He's more
let
on
me
the
just
severe.
let me just give people, our listeners, a little a little information on the different levels. So for mental health, there's something that we call it the Bible, pretty much the mental health Bible. It's the DSM-5. Before it was the 4, now it's the 5. And in the DSM-5, before we used to say you're low functioning, moderate functioning, high functioning. They no longer do that. So in DSM-5, they have level 1 ASD, formerly known as high functioning autism, is the mildest form. Level 2 is the middle or moderate form or level of autism, and level 3, formerly known as low functioning autism, is the most severe form of autism. So your sons are 1 and 2, pretty much.
My older son, he's one.
Hmm.
My younger son, it's in certain areas he's two, but he can also be on the lower functioning.
Okay.
And I'd like to cover that. And
Yes.
what I mean by that is, a lot of times people categorize lower functioning autistic people with lack of speech. He speaks,
Mm-hmm.
but his ability to transition is very difficult. He doesn't like to come outside the room much. Um, he has something which would look like ODD, which is
Mm-hmm.
oppositional defiant disorder,
Mm-hmm.
where he doesn't take cues very well. So he's like, it's a weird kind of, it's kind of weird because, like I said, he speaks, but he's very low on the spectrum. Yes.
So you're a mom to a 15 and a 16-year-old on different levels of the spectrum. How has it been for you? Because that is a whole lot of adjustment. How has it been for you as mom?
Um, initially, it was really hard. Um, and that's a great question. It was really hard, and you have to be like, I learned gratitude. Working with my, excuse me, because it's been really hard. It's between um, trying to understand them,
Mm-hmm.
um, working through everything possible to get them all of the services that I could imagine, um, being determined, because sometimes you deal with people who, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. Don't
Um,
apologize,
when
please.
people ask me that question, it does something to me because it's the reason why I created Autism Links. Um, you feel alone. You feel like no one understands you. But at the end of the day, I have this responsibility to provide everything that I can through this journey,
Mm-hmm.
because I have to care for them. They're going to be adults one day, and it was really, it changed me as a person. It changed me. It gave me so much more gratitude. It gave me so much patience. Um, I began to advocate for parents. It was difficult.
You know, as a clinical therapist, some years ago, I had a parent, young girl. She was late 20s, and she had a son back then. I think he was like maybe 6 or 7 years old, and he was level 3, so that was low functioning. He had speech wasn't there. She had to pretty much do almost everything for him. I haven't stayed in touch with her over the years. I should have, but you got so many clients, it's like it's kind of hard. But one of the things I remember, she when she graduated from university, she had a promising career, very promising career. She had to give it all up because she had to take care of her son. And that was one of the reasons why she came in for therapy, because she had a hard time dealing with, a son that, recognizing on a certain level, he can only accomplish so much, and that he may never be able to live independently, and that she would always have to be there for him. And she didn't have a huge support system. So, um, having her for 6 months as a client, I understand on a certain level the intricacies and the complexities, and just the whole emotional um, barrage of feelings and stuff that you would be experiencing. So,
I appreciate that. It's just when people ask me that, like, people will say to me, what is your drive? And I'll be on the live and I'm, celebrating like, hey guys, I'm so happy we did our awareness today. And, people will ask me like, what is my drive? And then when they ask me the question, how has it changed my life a lot? Yes, it does. And it's sometimes it's scary. And I actually retired from my job because I needed to be here for my children. Yes.
okay, see? So, let's talk a little bit, or a whole lot, about the organization Autism Links. And then on the other side of that conversation, we'll take a break. So, tell us about Autism Links. Tell us about your mission, everything that you've done so far, where you wanted to go. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay, well, Autism Links was founded through my experience of feeling alone. So, what we do, or basically I do, is I reach out to parents to be that supporting system for them, that voice of inspiration. Um, because through my experience, I didn't have that. I also try to push them and get them in touch with organizations that are going to help them. And in the interim, I try to keep them positive, very positive through this experience. I sometimes work with some of their children with the behavior and, speaking with them until they're able to successfully begin the services. I spread awareness, and I also inspire my young adults that are autistic. And I'm so happy because a few of them are actually going to be speaking at my event.
All right, now I like.
Yes, I'm excited.
You should be. So, one of the things you were sharing with us earlier on is that you do engage with the high functioning kids, that's level one, level two. And that's of course through your experiences with your son. So you do engage with some of your parent friends, like when a child is in need or something like that. You're able to engage and you're able to help them through certain patches, right?
Yes, I do this car show every first Sunday of the month, and
Mm-hmm.
it's incredible to me that even the ones that are nonverbal, they just attach to me. And their mom is like, I cannot get my child away from you. I have pictures of me and this little girl. She's so amazing. She doesn't speak. And I'm like, okay, let's take a picture. And she kissed me. I'm like, but they feel, and it's so important as a parent. And I'm not just talking about for my children. I'm a parent to all of those children. They feel that love and that inspiration that I have. And, you know, um, I cried because I know the experience that I had, but I also understand that my energy trickling onto my children and other children, it gives them hope. It gives the parents hope. Some of the parents can't even believe how their children don't want to leave, and I love it. So I work with a lot of the children through the behavior process until they're able to get services to help them. But then the other children, it's just in me inspiring them, and I love it.
So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the services that you're able to connect your families with. And let me just say this before we go to break: the fact that, okay, for those of our listeners that may not know this, one of the things that also will help you understand autism is most autistic kids and or adults, they're not into social interaction. Okay, it's one of the ways you I mean, we've been doing this for years. Alnisa as a parent, myself as a clinician, I can tell when someone is autistic. And social interaction is something that they just do not do. So for this little girl to come and give you a kiss,
I'm gonna send you the picture.
enough said. Enough said. So we're going to take a break and we will come back on the other side with Miss Alnisa, and she is the founder of Autism Links. When you need a professional stager to make your property more appealing for your target buyer, look no further than Zep Bolai Lawrence, realtor and property stager with Fuchsia Realty Group. Give her a call at 321-689-3467 or email her at zepbl9@gmail.com. Zep Bolai Lawrence, realtor and property stager with Fuchsia Realty Group. Give her a call, 321-689-3467.
Been here since day one.
Hey, it's your girl, Coach Lady Mia, asking you to join me on The Mia Allman Show, presented by Official Woman of Culture, every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. on iTunesRadio.com, as we share honest conversations with individuals on how to master self, maintaining self-care, topics that affect women mentally, physically, and spiritually, while celebrating our cultural heritage. These and much more. This is a conversation you don't want to miss. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Glow 365 TV shows to watch all our current and previous shows. You can also visit us online at www.glow365.info.
This is Professor GT inviting you to join Lima Dunbar along with DJs Code Red and Kevorkian on the People's Chat Room every Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time on iTunesRadio.com.
iTunes Entertainment Magazine, where the focus is to bring information and entertainment wrapped in a little something extra that is pertinent and relative to all of us, regardless of culture. Our features aim at catering somewhat to the curiosity in all of us, whether it be business, entertainment, health and wellness, immigration, our youth, and more. So please visit our website at www.itunesentertainmentmagazine.com or itunesentmagazine.com. Also inviting you to check us out on IG and Twitter at iTunesEntMag. And we are back, and this is Caribbean Street Talk. You don't know, all right? Because we're proud of what we do here at Caribbean Street Talk. And tonight we have a guest, Miss AL-NISA. I don't know if I should put the Miss in front of AL-NISA because AL-NISA is a brand name. So AL-NISA, and she is the founder of the organization Autism Links. So welcome back to the show, AL-NISA.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's talk about a little bit more about your organization and tell us how you're able to connect the kids and parents to services, because here in Central Florida, or I should say the Orlando Tri-County areas of Orange County, Seminole, and Osceola, making those connections are difficult. I know that UCF they have something called UCF card, and they're able to help you connect with your, services and stuff. But The more years that go by, that's been a little more difficult. So, in South Florida, where you're at, help us to understand how you are able to connect your families with services for their children.
Well, I want to start by showing you something behind me. Do you see this?
Autism awareness, yes.
Yes. So every event that I do in this area, which I'm in events all the time, I have these flags. Parents come over because they're so ecstatic about someone spreading awareness, and they start talking to me. And that is how I ask them questions, the speech or different things to that effect. And then they say, well, I don't have this, or the school isn't doing this. And that's something I hope that we talk about.
Well,
Um,
we'll talk about it. Trust me.
so I give them information and express to them the importance of early intervention. I ask the age. The other thing is, I'm very well known in my neighborhood, and most of the business owners, they like, last night I'm here and the business owner calls me. He says, "Alisa, I have a family here. Can you come and speak with this family?" So I made my presence known in my neighborhood that I advocate for families and children with autism. So I'm the go-to person that they call me.
Mhm. That's pretty good. I like that. I like that. Let's go a little bit more further. It has been documented that parents of children diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder often report higher levels of depression, anxiety, and mental health related issues. The combination of stresses and family adjustment difficulties can cause distress, which may develop into a crisis. Can you share with us some of the challenges with having children on the autism spectrum? You shared some of that, but I want to talk more about your support system because tell us about your support system, your families, whether it's the maternal family or the paternal family. So in other words, we all up in your business.
And that's fine. Well,
You
I'm not,
start wherever you want to start.
um, dad, he's he didn't understand. Just like a
Mhm.
lot of parents don't understand, right? So you always have one of the parents that are like, no way, that's not what's going on. And so it wasn't so much a lack of support, it's a lack of knowledge and a lack of acceptance. As far as my family is concerned, I moved to Florida by myself. And when I shared with my family, both of my sons are autistic, it was like, well, what is that? It's the same thing, autistic. And so I was alone. Organization, so that parents don't feel alone, because initially I was not autism links. It was autism, you're not alone. And it wasn't so much of the children, because now the children I call them quietly unique now that I'm a veteran, but I was alone. Can I say that parents can have? I developed anxiety. Yes. Um, and it happens because you don't know what the next day is going to be. You don't know how society is going to accept you and your children. And then when you're a fighter like me, um, and you see that the services that your children need, you literally have to fight for it. It'll bring about frustration naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So I developed anxiety. Um, now I'm a lot calmer because I started making bracelets. But at first, I do beads. I make bracelets. So I had to find a way to cope. And um, even today, I get sad. I'll get depressed. I see the success in my 16-year-old, but I worry about my 15-year-old. And I could just only imagine what that mother felt, the one you spoke about. because we, like I say, we are caring for our children and raising adults. And when you realize that this person is going to be in society, society does not see majority of the time um, disabilities that you can't physically see. People see hearing impaired people. People see vision impaired people. People see people in wheelchairs. So you're really worried about that in society, and naturally you're going to get depressed about it. So yeah.
I'd like to elaborate a little bit more on that. I mean, one of the ways she coped was she used to smoke weed every day, straight up. Um, but
I'm on a natural high.
but then she learned that there were other coping mechanisms, and then getting her connected with a support group and all of that. But I believe some of the things that you worry about, almost every parent worries about that. You worry about how your child is going to be 10 years from today, 15 years from today. How will they be able to cope in society as an adult? Will they learn the skills or the skill sets that they need? When you have a special needs child, I'm sure you also think about, can they, I mean, independent living and all of that. So you got a lot on your plate, young lady. You got a lot on your plate.
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
I
How?
want to ask you something.
Go ahead.
As a clinical technician, do you notice that um, children with autism also suffer with PTSD?
Yeah, they do.
Mhm.
They do. And if they are unable to articulate or verbalize what they're going through, this is where observation comes in really handy. And then, of course, self reporting from the parent. But yes, they do. I have one particular had, because he's no longer on my client load. And he used to have suffer from anxiety, or the stresses that pretty much symbolized anxiety. And we worked through a couple of different things. And I don't work straight up with kids that are autistic. I have to get all the information so that way I can make a decision as to whether or not I want, because I'm not an authority on autism. So if
Right.
I recognize that I have certain limitations or I can only do so much, I will try my best to say, okay, this is where I think you should go, or I will check other clinicians that they specialize in that area. But they do suffer from PTSD, some of them.
And I asked that question because there's also those concerns and also the concerns of what we were speaking about, what happens in society. My younger son, he has PTSD, and it's a result of him being different and being picked on, and other children beating him up, and I deal with that as a mother, um, and his PTSD along with autism, it's tough. And so this is another thing that I do as the founder for Autism Links. I like to make the community aware that they also should have conversations with their children, that they're going to be children that are different, and to not mistreat them. So that's another thing that I do as far as an advocate for autism. I want to talk to parents that you don't live with an autistic child, or you may not have a family member, but I think it's very important to speak to your children about children with autism, and explaining it to them, and also teaching them not to not to just be mean to other children, because the effects of it now is I have an autistic son that suffers with PTSD.
Does he see a therapist?
Yes, we're actually, that's my go-to thing. But even though he's receiving therapy, I utilize the practices that I get from the therapist at home
Good
too.
girl. Good,
I
good.
I structure. everything I do, and it's also about building a community. If your children are in neurotypical learning environments, which is mainstream schooling,
Mhm.
the teacher, the parent, the therapist, it's just one circle for the greater good. So whatever they do with him, I practice it at home, whether it's his speech therapy, his behavior therapy, his therapy for his PTSD. Yeah, so I implement that as well. And
I'm
it's
happy.
very important for parents
It's
to do that as well.
it really is. As a clinician, I give my clients homework and I emphasize with them that it's important that you do your homework. Just see me as a teacher that I'm not in a classroom, but I'm teaching you something. And with all teachers, we give you homework. Do your homework. And you would find that when you do your homework, you become a better person, a better version of yourself somewhere down the road. It's really important. So I'm happy that you're following through on the homework. We will take a break and we will return with AL-NISA. She is the founder of the organization Autism Links.
Hey, it's your girl, Coach Lady Mia, inviting you to check out some shows on Glow 365 TV, starting with yours truly, The Mia Allman Show, Holistic Health Show with Coach Dawn, Sisters of Faith with Coach Lady Q, and The Sophie G Show with Coach Sophie G. Streaming on YouTube at Glow 365 TV shows every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, rebroadcast on Caribbean Rhythms Radio online at crrnetworkinc.com every Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Val Branch Duncan, Realtor with North Star First Properties. Her name says it all, where V stands for valuable, A, attentive, L for loyal. If you are buying or selling properties in the Caribbean and North America, Val can help. She is specialized to assist you in Jamaica, Grenada, Guyana, Barbados, Bahamas, and Trinidad and Tobago. Give Val a call at 321-303-9345 or 407-844-8622. Val Branch Duncan, Realtor with North Star First Properties. Please give her a call again at 321-303-9345 or 407-844-8622.
Hey, it's your girl, Coach Mia, asking you to join the conversation on the SNS show, hosted by executive producer Dr. Michelle Stevens, along with her co-host, Coach Yava Swearington, sharing an in-depth conversations on relationships, health and wellness, important issues in our society, to the highs and lows of surviving everyday life. Streaming live on YouTube at DRSNS Show. That's DRSANDSSHOW. Monthly, every fourth Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. A conversation you don't want to miss. This show is also powered by Quayle Works Empowerment Network.
Yes, we are back. This is Lima Dunbar, and this is Caribbean Straight Talk. And our guest tonight, Al-NISA, and she is, we call her an autism activist, okay? An autism activist. And her organization is called Autism Links. So let me just continue because we're almost out of here. Can you share with us the type of cooperation received from your children's school with regards to their academic and behavioral needs, or does it vary from teacher to teacher or school to school?
Well, as we know that once they enter the school with a diagnosis, they have an IEP,
Mhm.
which is the individual educational plan or program. And I want to say it's an overall concern of mine, living through my experience with the Broward County school system, is You have to be very active as a parent, showing up for the IEP meetings because the school system gets paid for the children there. They have these meetings, and the purpose is to go over what they have planned for them. And it depends on the diagnosis. Like with autistic children, you have behavior, you have the 504, which is a behavior, and it's also very similar to the IEP.
Mhm.
Um, they'll have speech, and you want to make sure that you advocate that your children or child is getting what they have written down, because a lot of times the schools are saying that they're doing these services. You'll bring your child home and they're not excelling, and that's because the school isn't providing that, and we need more parents to be proactive in that respect. Yes.
Yeah, hold the feet to the fire because I really feel that they're mandated to do these IEPs or 504s because, well, they're supposed to, but that doesn't mean you as a parent, I should say, and not necessarily you, but parents in general, yeah, need to hold them accountable because I have had other parents say the same thing that they're supposed to have the child being pulled off for tutoring or speech. And unless the parents stay on top of them and ask, well, did you pull my child out? You know, they won't do it, but they will sign off on it.
And
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. And they'll even go as far as taking away, if you know your child is not meeting the IEP goal, because they're goals, right? If they're not meeting that goal, let's say an expressive speech, then they should not tell you off paper, which that is the IEP, that they're only pulling them out 3 days a week, when you and I both know as the school officials that the child needs 5 days. So this is where, I really emphasize to the parents, we have to be um, warriors. We have to go out there. We have to make sure that we're attending the IEPs. We have to connect with the teachers, because this is what makes the picture brighter, that we're building our community team. That's the teachers connecting with the parents and the therapists, and we're doing it together. So, we have to make sure that we're on top of the schools. When they saw me coming, like, oh my God, here comes the Bailey brothers' mother, because I was on top of them. You have to be. And then you're also showing them, because it's just like anything else. If you're the parent and you're not showing up for your child, why do you think that they're going to show up for your child?
I'm happy you said that because I was thinking at the same time when children know you care, then they do care. Take that and apply it to the school system. When a teacher knows that you, the parent, care, then they start showing that they do care and they will step their game up. And that's at least 99.9% of teachers. Okay. There's always that one exception, But I just have one more question for you
Sure.
before we say goodnight. And that is, as with most parents, we have dreams and plans for our children that may sometimes be independent of their own. What are your dreams and or plans for your sons?
My son gets so mad at me when I say this. For my 15-year-old, despite the fact that he is not a social butterfly, I want my son to be a lawyer. And I tell him that because he likes to argue with me. He likes to fight. He's super strong. And I said, you can call it, because everybody sees my sons. They're almost 6 feet. He's real muscular. Make him play football. Heck no, he's going to be a lawyer because he likes to argue. He does not like interacting, social behavior. Like, it's getting to know the child's niche. You have to be enthusiastic about the fact that, it's not what we expected as parents. but what we give off,
Mm-hmm.
right, they're going to
Mm-hmm.
receive it. So for him, I would love for him to be a lawyer. I would love to see him get married at any rate. I want him to have a family, but the way he likes to throw stuff around, I'm like, your wife is going to leave you. But I make it fun for them because, like I said, I'm raising adults, right? So I would love for him to be a lawyer. Um, because I just see that's what it is. He wants to be by himself and he's closed in. For my other son, which I'm super proud of both of them, for him, again, they tell me put him in basketball. He's tall. I want him to be a model for sensory clothing for autistic people to dress to impress.
That kind of tells me that he is one handsome child.
He's
Mm-hmm.
tall. Hmm.
But I like where your drive is because I'm hearing that people are telling you put them in sports. Why is it that every black child gotta be a sports person, huh? Or an
I
athlete?
don't, I don't, and that was one thing. Initially, because he was growing at like green stalk rate, and he loved it himself. It wasn't like I said, "Oh my gosh, he needs to play basketball." Um, he would not too social. He was still a little. Now he's a little bit better,
Mhm.
and I love it. And I'll tell you that in a moment. But I would take him out, and he's like, "I want that NFL shirt. I mean, what is it, NBA shirt?" But then I'm like, no, I want them to do something more. Like,
Mhm.
look at the sports industry, look at the industry in general. So I don't want my children who are already, dealing with a diverse kind of world to be involved in that. So I look for lawyer. And like I said, not because I want to be one of those moms. Like, my son is going to be a lawyer. He loves to argue. Like, so that's why. But I don't think that every black child
Mhm.
needs to be in sports. They're so much more intelligent than that.
So much more. And I think that we as parents, and even not just parents, but part of the communities that they belong to, we need to engage them in other professions, because even in sports, you've got so many other professions you could be guided towards, whether it's an analyst, a therapist, um, those guys that do the scoreboards. I mean, there's a long list of things you can do in sports and not just necessarily be on the field.
Commentary, yeah.
You know what I mean? So keep guiding your young adults and keep being there for them because you're their world, you know? And I thank you for allowing us to be part of your support system.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if there's anything that we can do to help going forward, just reach out. Okay?
Well, I
Just
just want to ask one thing. I
sure.
just want for I came here tonight because again I advocate for children, in general, but mostly on a spectrum. I just want to remind parents that you are your children's voice at this time, especially for those who can't speak. And prior to Autism Links, my saying was a parent in denial is a child that's deprived. You're caring for your children, you're raising adults. So I hope this did something for you, as far as just seeing me as a mom, having that experience, and just being, at this point, excited about what we are able to do now versus what was available to us years ago as parents with children on the spectrum.
Say that again. A parent in denial is a child what?
That's deprived.
I like that. A parent in denial is a child that's deprived. That saying speaks thousands and thousands of words. I like that. I like that. Yeah, man. We gotta go. So we want to thank our guest, Al-NISA, for being a part of Caribbean Straight Talk tonight. Please follow her on Instagram at Autism Links. I know that she has a show, an event on April 1st. By the time this show hits, April 1st will have gone. But please try and reach out to her and see how you can be a part of that community. Please. Thank you so much. This is Lima Dunbar, and this is Caribbean Street Talk. Please follow us at Caribbean Street Talk on Instagram as well as our YouTube channel, where we encourage you to subscribe. You take care.
The month of April is National Autism Awareness Month. As suggested by the name, the purpose of this month is to educate and inform others about autism. This includes defining the disease, learning what it means to have autism, learning the difficulties that someone with autism faces, and, of course, learning how to accept and appreciate those with autism. To learn more about autism, please visit online at www.autism.org. Hey, it's your girl, Coach Lady Mia, inviting you to check out some shows on Glow 365 TV, starting with yours truly, The Mia Almond Show, Holistic Health Show with Coach Dawn, Sisters of Faith with Coach Lady Q, and The Sophie G Show with Coach Sophie G. Streaming on YouTube at Glow 365 TV shows every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, rebroadcast on Caribbean Rhythms Radio online at crrnetworkinc.com every Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Val Branch Duncan, Realtor with North Star First Properties. Her name says it all, where V stands for valuable, A, attentive, L, for loyal. If you are buying or selling properties in the Caribbean and North America, Val can help. She is specialized to assist you in Jamaica, Grenada, Guyana, Barbados, Bahamas, and Trinidad and Tobago. Give Val a call at 321-303-9345 or 407-844-8622. Val Branch Duncan, Realtor with North Star First Properties. Please give her a call again at 321-303-9345 or 407-844-8622.
Orlando, the queen of soca is coming. Culture Fed crew, get ready for Patrice Roberts. Like yourself. Look where we reach again. End up in a party in the streets again. Saturday, May 27th, 2023. Patrice singing all her hits. I go drink water and mind my business. Patrice Roberts. Oh gosh, you're sweet. That is what I have been balling out. Patrice Roberts. Carry on, baby. Alongside the A-Team Band, Orlando Carnival Weekend. For tickets and more info, call 352-874-3304 or get them online at culturefedweekend.com or eventbrite.com. Make I love you, make I love you,
This is Professor GT inviting you to join Lima Dunbar along with DJs Code Red and Kevorkian on the People's Chat Room every Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time on iTunesRadio.com.
When you need a professional stager to make your property more appealing for your target buyer, look no further than Zep Bolai Lawrence, Realtor and Property Stager with Fuchsia Realty Group. Give her a call at 321-689-3467 or email her at zepbl9@gmail.com. Zep Bolai Lawrence, Realtor and Property Stager with Fuchsia Realty Group. Give her a call, 321-689-3467.
Been here since day one.
Hey, it's your girl, Coach Lady Mia, asking you to join me on The Mia Allman Show, presented by Official Woman of Culture, every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. on iTunesRadio.com, as we share honest conversations with individuals on how to master self, maintaining self-care, topics that affect women mentally, physically, and spiritually, while celebrating our cultural heritage. These and much more. This is a conversation you don't want to miss. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Glow 365 TV shows to watch all our current and previous shows. You can also visit us online at www.glow365.info.
iTunes Entertainment Magazine, where the focus is to bring information and entertainment wrapped in a little something extra that is pertinent and relative to all of us, regardless of culture. Our features aim at catering somewhat to the curiosity in all of us, whether it be business, entertainment, health and wellness, immigration, our youth, and more. So please visit our website at www.itunesentertainmentmagazine.com or itunesentmagazine.com. Also inviting you to check us out on IG and Twitter at iTunesEntMag. Caribbean Straight Talk, streaming on iTunes Radio, Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Streaming on Island Beat Radio, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Inviting you to please join us every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. right here on Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you on the next episode of Caribbean Straight Talk. Also, inviting you to like and subscribe on YouTube and our Facebook page at Caribbean Straight Talk. This show is executive produced by George Busso Jr., Lima Dunbar, Mia Allman, and music by Theron Shaw, guitarist, and powered by iTunes Radio and QuillyWorks Empowerment Broadcast Network.
Oh Lord, bad maths, you know. Poor people, boy. It feel like they send me one by one, 2 by 2, it's a 2 by 4. The more we add to the table, they keep taking away more and more. 99% suffering, and they say and enough for sure. Cause the 1% controlling 100% of the lives of the poor, lives of the poor. It's not enough, 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 it's not enough. Lord, it should take our power from a Rima to town. It's not enough. Our daily is almost 2 hours long. It's not enough. Every month is another 1,000 in gas. It's not enough. And when salary come, you don't know when it's fast. Lord, it's not enough. $5 to take a short drop. 10 to town with a million subs. Can depend on the bus, cause the system flop. So you're spinning like a top on your body. You must say, massive. You must say, massive. You must say, massive. No! I say I didn't know at all. And you must say, massive. You must say, massive. You must say, massive. No! I say I didn't know at all. No, you don't know. You say I didn't know at all. It's not enough. See me the man with salary and TNT. There is so much fun. It's 3,000 out of the way. After you qualify, it's 30 years to pay. Lord, is it not enough? Scream yes if banking corrupt. And they're robbing people non-stop, taking your money from your drop by drop till you always a prop on your body. The man say, man sing. The man say, man sing. The man say,